The Against All Odds podcast, sponsored by Oak Forest Recovery. Welcome to the Against All Odds podcast. My name is RJ, and I'm here with co-host Rachel. And today we have Erica Spiegelman, counselor and 7 times best-selling author. And she's here today with her newest book, The Rewired Method, The 8 R's of Recovery. I think before we get into that, we'd love to hear your journey on just, where you from and how'd you get here? You and I,
and thank you for having me.
You and I.
Awesome.
How long have you guys, what's your history? What's the history
God,
here?
probably years now. I mean,
couple years. I think, we're, in this small industry of recovery. You usually cross paths with somebody somehow, but I think it was because I had a client that told me about Oak Forest and raved about his treatment there. And so then he said, you have to meet RJ. And then it so happened I knew your business development lady at the time, and she introduced us, and I came by to see your facility. And then it's, we live in Los Angeles, even though it's big, and especially this area, it's a small world.
For sure.
And so,
But that's, it's so cool. I love that. I feel like there's a special relationship so I had hired this guy named Dr. Lockwood, who I think you know, and the reason he had started working for us is because in the early days of Oak Forest, I ran the men's sober living and I sponsored a lot of the guys. And one of the guys that lived there had a therapist that he would see. And it was Dr. Lockwood.
How funny,
right?
I know.
And so we got to have this relationship via a client. And you and I similarly share that same. And it's I feel like that's such a unique.
It is.
Sort of bond.
It creates a bond. It
does. You know each other in a way that is just hard to explain. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No. It's a special, because I think we get to, these clients are not just clients, they become, for at least for me, like family sometimes, or they feel like, you get to meet their families, you're part of their lives. And this client that RJ and I share, I've known for maybe 12 years now. I mean, that's a long time. When you share your own relationship with him, it's kind of like when you meet your best friend's best friend. You become friends. It's like that type of thing. Where you're like, well, you're their best friend, so of course you're going to be my best friend. And that's kind of.
And there's always this experience, especially when it's like 2 really, I feel like, good partners on either side. Where the person in the middle who's maybe receiving the help, right, or the treatment or whatever you want to call it, that ecosystem is they are constantly talking about the other person.
Right.
Right. And for this client, he was always like, oh man, Erica, she told me to do this. And oh my God, she helped me like this. And And then I think vice versa, right? You would say the same things about Oak Forest. And it's it's such a cool thing when it then finally meets and you're like, oh, okay, I see why.
It was like you guys already knew each other before you met.
Exactly.
You had connection already.
Yeah. There was trust. There's trust. You're like, okay, this person's good.
This person's a good person. Exactly.
They got what it takes. You know what I mean?
I know. That's so nice.
Yeah.
I love the way the world works like that.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah.
But so where are you from? Where are you from originally?
I'm San Francisco.
Okay.
I grew up in San Francisco, in the city, and then kind of in the Bay Area. Went to high school. My parents divorced when I was 7, so we kind of moved towards Palo Alto area where the tech, where everything was just starting back then. Back in the 90s, it really wasn't what it is today, but
everybody was Apple was in the garage, and
it was big back
everybody
then.
was starting with little computers that they were building in their homes. And
and now it's Facebook is down the road, and Google, and it's just totally different up in the Bay Area now. But growing up there was it was fun. I went to Dead shows at 13. I did I did mushrooms. It's I did a lot of things early on.
We talk about everything on
here.
Cool. So this is you know what I mean?
No,
whatever you're comfortable with.
No, but it's I think a little bit of insight to who you are, where you grow up and the culture.
Yeah, it's important.
So I immediately, I always felt like I was just matured, like an old soul, but matured young. And so I think at 13 to be doing kind of more adult things felt normal. And now I look at a 13-year-old and I'm like,
wow, you're a baby.
Yeah. And especially having your own kids, it changes things. But yeah. And then, from there, just kind of explored the city and, went to raves and did fun stuff. But then, through my own life, I went to college. And then I think for me, my drinking in my college years really just took on another life of its own. And I could feel like the dependency, the relationship with alcohol definitely became problematic, I think. And I just internally knew that, but put it to the side, kind of compartmentalized it of like, I'll deal with this later.
Right.
Because it was normalized in the environment.
For sure.
But then,
which college were you at?
I was at the University of Arizona.
Okay, okay. Yeah.
In Tucson.
Big party school.
Big party school.
Yeah.
And it was, it was good while it was good. And then, I think in my 20s, after college, I just couldn't get out of the cycle of the drinking, to be honest. And I grew up in a household where there was alcohol. My father drinks, and it was accepted and acceptable.
Yeah.
Whenever, however, how much, so again,
what was home life like? Was it?
Well, it was great. I mean, I have two loving parents. My parents divorced when I was young, so I think that was problematic at the time because it created two households with two different sets of values, two sets of energy. That kind of like.
How old were you?
7.
I was 7 too.
Really?
Yeah, my parents got divorced when I was 7. And it was two different households and two different sets of values and two different sets of rules.
Right.
I feel like that's a tough age for that too.
It's a tough
7
age.
because
you're
like
aware enough.
You kind of know. It's like you kind of know what's going on, but not to the extent that you can really process and understand it.
Exactly. I've been talking to a lot more people, and it seems like 7 is like an age where this happens a lot.
Yes,
for kids.
It does.
It's bizarre, or there's like some kind of like life shift at 7. Around there, like either you move or something goes on, but. Yeah, I think it, especially being a very like in tune child, I feel like I was like like a people pleaser, and it probably because of all the things going on within the house. I don't even remember, but it was like I had always felt like my mom's happiness depended on me or someone else's mood depended on how, So I learned to put on a mask really young of like. Right. I, even though I was sad and depressed and going through my own emotional experiences at that time, and I remember feeling depressed and feeling, because I'm a very like, even as a young kid, I could feel the contrast of getting like down into a depression when this was going on at this time at 7 years old, 8 years old, and feeling very, frustrated and confused. And no one was asking me how I felt about it. And so again, they did the best, I guess the best they knew how. But again, I don't think I had a lot of attunement. Like there was no checking in with me emotionally. Right. So I just stuffed. Yeah. And then I think when I was a preteen teen, like 12, 13, meeting peers with my best friend was also comes from a divorced family, and she acted out with like, here's a beer, here's a cigarette, and immediately that just connecting and like being able to feel, being able to express feelings through substances, and that's how it started young, and so I think once that starts, that connection to something outside yourself that makes you feel better, of course,
you keep seeking it.
You keep seeking it, and then you also find the connection with like-minded kids that you attune to, because there's no attunement at home, so you tune to that. So I think that's when I look back as like
for sure,
the counselor me like doing therapy on myself. It's like this is kind of how I feel like it started. But I think genetically too, it just like even at a young age, I like would shake if I didn't have something in my system. Like I just think I physically became addicted very fast, and which in the end helped me seek treatment, to be honest, because it was undeniable. Like there was no, I'm functional enough and I can get one over on people. Like it was everybody knew there was something going on.
What did that look like at the end?
As much as I hid, I mean, I was, I think a shell of who I was, just like spiritually, like I wasn't happy, which I naturally was a little bit more upbeat all the time, but also I think I had just become so physically bloated and looked different, and again isolated, hid from people because I didn't want them to like ask what's going on, and just all these things that I think happen where all the things I love fell by the wayside, got fired from jobs because they smelled alcohol because I was drinking during the day. Like things like this started where those consequences came pretty quick in my late 20s, to the point where my mom was like, you have a problem.
Right.
And you need help. And I kept saying no. And, again, like fixing it, I'll fix it myself and I'll try things. And then it never worked until I went to treatment myself.
Listen, nobody wakes up one day and thinks, what'll be fun? Going to rehab. But sometimes life gets messy. And the bravest thing that you can do is admit that you need a reset.
At Oak Forest Recovery, we're not here to judge. We've been there. We know what it's like. We've been scared. We've been alone, using comedy and jokes to cover it all up. The good news is you don't have to do it alone. We have the tools, we've got the community, and we even have good coffee.
If you or someone you love is struggling, come see us. Healing doesn't have to be boring. It can even be fun. And we're here to help.
How old were you when you went to treatment?
I turned 28.
28?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like, I just turned 28 and I think I went in that October.
Did you graduate college during that time?
Well, that was before. So yeah, that was like at 21.
Yeah. So you graduated.
And then 7 years went by where it was just a dark 7 years.
Really?
Yeah. Right after college. Like it was, I moved to New York. I was by myself. I lived, by myself, and it was going out every night. And it was just an endless cycle of just, 5 a.m. I still have dreams to this day of like, oh my God, I'm up when the sun's coming up and I'm sneaking back into, all those dreams of, and then I moved back to San Francisco and I was living in the city, and that's when it got really bad. I was in a very bad relationship. It was abusive. I, again, vibrated with, you vibrate with different people, and it was just a very dark time. And I didn't know how to get out of it. I remember sitting in San Francisco on the stoop at my where I was living, and it was 7 a.m. and there was like a red plastic cup of wine from the night before. And I just remember like shaking so bad that I was like, I have to drink this. And 7 a.m. and I'm like, how do I get out of this? Like I said, like it was almost like to God, like, how do I get out of this? And I just remember that moment. And I always, like, I'll even say this to clients, like I hold on to that memory, not to things should have been different, but because I'm so grateful for being out of that chain to that addiction at the time, to chain to that moment, that like I won't forget that moment because of how desperate I felt in that moment.
Right.
And so again, for me, the internal bottom, like the spiritlessness was so real that I finally did accept and surrendered and got help. But it was bad. Like it was, I would have ruined my whole life. It would have been ended very early, Right. And so anyway, that's kind of how I got to where I am now, but and then
where'd you go to treatment and so what's your mom like reaches out, or you reached out, and it was just like you were willing, you're like just
I went to one of my best friend's weddings in Turkey, in Istanbul, to be honest.
I love it. This is like a great setting for
and I came back, and then and anyway, that trip was when I physically became really like ill, like without alcohol, and that scared the shit out of me. Like I couldn't even, like at 6 a.m., 7 a.m., I was throwing up. I felt like poisoned. Yeah. I felt poisoned, and I didn't know how to get out of being poisoned. Right. And even if I took a day off, it was so uncomfortable. It was detoxing. It was so that I couldn't do it. And I couldn't ask anybody for help, and I wanted no one to think I had an issue. So, and it was back then where Betty Ford was the only treatment center. It was, I don't know. Was it?
Is that where you went? You went to Betty Ford?
I went to Betty Ford.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
Yeah. So my mom was
back when like the only options were good options.
Yeah. Well, she would say to me like, you need to go to a Betty Ford. And I was like, please, like, I'm not going to, like, and that was like, but there was such a stigma around, first of all, alcoholism, addiction, and treatment at the time. Right. It was kind of like, oh, you must have you're really fucked up if you're going to Betty Ford, right? And I was, by all means, I was.
But you had a double life.
Yeah,
you had the stage character that you presented, which is like, I'm not that bad. Yeah. Really.
Oh, so much suffering inside. Yeah. Yeah. So Betty Ford was that was it.
Right.
Yeah.
What was that experience like for you?
It was great, honestly. Yeah. Like, I think I was just ready. I think I'm meant to do what I'm doing now. And I feel like I'm meant to live this other life. And I wouldn't have been able to help people if I hadn't experienced it myself. That's only one part of it. But I do think it was very educational. It was almost like a classroom all the time. They were like big they were
auditoriums,
like auditorium.
Right?
So it wasn't like at a like now. What if I go to a treatment center and teach a group? It's at a house.
Yeah, I've been there and toured it like years ago, and I was just like,
how big is it? How many clients?
It's a campus. I mean, it's like
it's a campus.
Oh,
campus, and they have like different wings, and now I think they also have like what they call Daisy Lane.
Daisy Lane was the after. Yeah, I went there for 30 days after. It's a sober living.
Outpatient. There's like women and men, and
so it's like a whole like city of.
It's a system. It's a big system.
Yeah, I mean Betty Ford. I mean she like
it was
this whole thing, and I think she was sober too, right?
She got sober. She was an alcoholic for many years.
Right.
She got help herself.
And her whole thing was like it was like shared rooms, and like you don't have a private room.
Yes,
and,
it was a shared room. I had a roommate. Like I felt so when I got there. Well, so I came from my friend's wedding. So I got back to LA, and my mom said, "This is it. Like you're a mess. You know, you can't." I came back from this wedding and a mess. It was a mess. And but she had this friend of mine had one more wedding for the American family in Los Angeles. So I actually flew. I was living in San Francisco. Flew to Los Angeles. I had a suitcase for like 4 days of clothes, and that was such a disaster, that wedding. And I think a friend of mine was with me, called my mom and said like, she's not doing well. Yeah. So my mom's like, that's it. I called Betty Ford. I'm getting a car. You're going down right today. So I arrived in a dress to Betty Ford, like literally a wedding dress with, maybe one pair of pajamas, like nothing. And that was it. And I remember getting sweatpants at the store from, like the Betty at the store, like the coffee shop.
The commissary
the commissary store.
Yeah.
Sweatpants, slippers, like that was it. And I just felt like, when they say this, and like I surrendered. It was I just was like, okay,
it's done.
I need to, as much as I'm scared to leave this relationship. There was like, it was like a download of like, this is the time, like you have to do this. And so I did. And it was a really weird experience I had. Like there was this older man that I think was a volunteer there, or maybe he was like seriously just an angel. I don't know what he was. I never saw him again after this moment, but I saw him and he sat down next to me, and he turned to me and said, "You're going to help people professionally in this field. Like, this is what you're going to do. And you're going to do all these things." And I swear it was like this moment where I almost like questioned the moment, because I never saw him again. And I asked about him. No one knew who he was or where he came from. And they had volunteers sometimes, but they were pretty documented. So I kept saying, I wanted to thank this man, like after the fact. And it was really just a strange experience there. Like all these weird things happen there. I feel like that. Magic. And they had a lake, and I would walk around the lake, and I was allowed to listen to music, and music came back to me. Like I was in musical theater my whole life. I sang, and like I just in my addiction just got so far away from the things I loved that brought me joy, that I was able to reconnect while I was at Betty Ford, and kind of had that opportunity with no telephone, and it was just such a beautiful time. And it was a spiritual experience. So yes, I think it like in so many ways it really helped set, like, again, this is why when I talk about rewiring and routine and new thoughts and, rewiring your thought habits, and it's because all this happened to me. Yeah. Like through those experiences that I know that they were so helpful. So I think it shaped my professional career, my experience there, actually.
That's beautiful. Yeah. I love that.
How long did you stay there for?
I was there for 30 days inpatient, and then 30 days at that Daisy Lane at a sober living for women. And then I had to rent a car, and I was able to like go to a meeting by myself, like, put one foot in and one foot out. And, but yeah, I think it was just, I put myself on a routine right away. I moved to LA after Palm Springs. I came to LA. I found a roommate that was a dentist. She didn't drink, like her cultural background, they don't drink. And so I was very like conscientious of like all my boundaries and
who's around you
and the environment. And I really, it was like, I set boundaries pretty easily. Like they weren't easy, but I mean, easy in terms of like coming to me where I needed them. Like I just
you knew which ones to set and how to set them. And
I mean, it's not like, and I have clients that don't know where to start, and that's fine. I'm here to help. But like for some reason I knew this is how I have to protect myself and the sobriety, or else I'll die. Like that's how, for me, it was putting it to death. Like it wasn't like the doors cracked open maybe in like a year from now, I can revisit this relationship with alcohol. No, it was like, it's dead, it's buried, and it's gone. Like I had to be like that, black and white. Right. And then honestly, that's the easiest way to be, because then you can, it's like not in your peripheral. It's like you're just,
I've seen I've got to meet clients that have come, through finding Oak Forest through my platform. And I think that's been one of the most special things. And then seeing them, I've seen people come in the beginning, and then I've seen them, at Bonfire or after, and seen like the light come back in their eyes and what a great experience they're having. And this new, community that they have now that could last for the rest of their lives and has set them up like for a successful recovery. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things.
Wow.
Yeah. So I came back to LA, and then I found running, which really helped me. I never ran a day in my life before that. But my brother said, like, run a block. And he used to run. And so I'd run, and then it became like, 4 or 5 days a week. I would run 4 miles a day, and that's it. It wasn't like anything out of, too much, but it really helped me like spiritually and be proud of myself and see myself differently, and like lost all this weight, like all these things came from movement, and I saw how important that was.
Stacking wins.
Yeah,
stacking wins.
And going to bed early. Like I had put myself on such a even my family didn't, obviously it was uncomfortable. They didn't know what to do with me. So I was like, I am going to be in bed by 9:30 and I'm up, and you're not getting in the way of my running or my this and my that. And I was very rigid, but I think because it creates a safety net for us that we need. And that routine that I could rely on myself again, like, whoa, I couldn't rely on myself. I had no control over myself. So now I can. Like, this is really empowering. Yeah. And it was such a freedom. And so I feel like like the gratitude was so deep, I could like cry over it even from today, of like how grateful I was that I was out of that hole and into the light. And again, feeling better was just so. Yeah. And then I went back to UCLA, I went to school there, and I became a counselor. I went to their counseling program. Wow. And I got a job Cry Help, Beit Teshuva. I worked at Passages for many years as a clinician and counselor.
Where was your first job?
It was at Wonderland with Howard Samuels, which is...
I've never even heard of it.
Oh, really? Yeah. Wow. It was a house on Mulholland Drive in Laurel Canyon. Okay. And he's a doctor, Dr. Samuels. He started it. It was cool. I would never seen any other treatment besides Betty Ford. So to see a house in the hills with,
it was a different thing.
It was a different thing, and it was in Hollywood, and and then from there I went to Beit Teshuva, which was a really big, crazy, different experience.
For sure.
It's a cool.
Community-based.
A rabbi runs it.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about it. I've never experienced, seen it.
They've produced
firsthand.
A lot of sobriety.
A lot.
And there's a ton of people like in LA that like own treatment centers and are like really big in the industry, and they're all like Beit Teshuva alum.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like Beit Teshuva alum are everywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like across the nation.
Yeah.
Well, they hold you for like a year. Like
so it's like a long term.
They will keep
it's
you.
It's a long term treatment center.
They had people there for like 10 years that just stayed and like got a job. And
wow.
Wow. No, they're like
it's tight.
It's like community. I don't want to call it like a cult, but it's like a commune. It's like
a commune. Yeah. Well, and
in the best way.
They have this like prison diversion thing.
Yes.
That they really, and they became like a nonprofit, right?
Yeah.
And there's this one woman that works there. I always forget her name, but I've talked to her a bunch of times. But she like really led the charge on like getting into the prison systems and like fighting for people for early release to go into Beit Teshuva. Right. And like a lot of people we know. Yeah. There's one individual.
That
we know. like he went through there. There's a whole bunch, and they all went through there because of this prison diversion sort of program that they created. And man,
I mean, people would show up at court, like you'd have 60 people deep from the community show up for people's court hearings, and it was when I worked there as a counselor. That
was back when it was like. It was incredible.
Well, the rabbi was running it with Harriet, this couple, this wife. Yeah, it was very chaotic in the best way. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
I learned a lot, and so and then I worked at Passages for a couple years in Malibu.
Passages Malibu. How was that?
Really interesting. I think a great therapeutic model. You have like 4 therapists that you see all week long, so the one-on-one attention was amazing because. There was no like one, that was groups and wherever you could talk to whoever you could talk to, you're lucky. But this was like very individualized, and so it was really an interesting place to work for them, and their thinking is very different. Their pitch of recovery, but again, I was allowed to develop my own curriculum for groups, which is where my first idea for my book came from. I was running, at Passages, they had 3 houses. So you had 30 people, 30 inpatient. That's a lot. Like on one.
30 in each house or 10 in each? Okay.
Like 10 or like maybe 8 in one. And But it was about, I would say like the most we had is like 35. 30.
Yeah, that's still a lot.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
And they were big houses. So I don't know. They had like guest houses. And, it was like, and so and people stayed. I mean, we had someone there for a year. Which is quite expensive, I'm sure, but the same people they would stay. So I had to come up with ideas for groups, and so from my own obviously experiences, and then professionally, I'd give people some homework. Try this worksheet. And I was always a writer. Even since I was a little kid, I would have journals, and I loved to write. I was a literature major in college. I graduated with English literature, so I was always writing, and it was interesting how like the two worlds came together, which was like. Now my personal and professional experience with recovery, and then my writing, and I started writing like worksheets for these groups at Passages, and then before I knew it, after I was there a couple of years, I had like 150 groups in a binder that I created.
Wow.
It was like before AI, like you actually had to type up your own worksheet.
When you had to do your own work,
and make copies on the Xerox machine. And so I was making these worksheets, and people were like giving me feedback of like, this helped me so much. I love this group on reframing, or I love this way you talk about self-care, or, and then I just started being like, I'm going to write a book. And I said it out loud, and then I did it. And, I shopped it around. I got a lot of no's. I finally found a publisher that said yes. So just keep going for anyone out there that has something to share. Just don't take no for an answer.
Right.
And I got traditionally published. And then,
What was your first book?
Rewired.
Okay.
Yeah, Rewired.
And what was it about?
It's about mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual self-care practices and tools and routines. And again, like with repetition, we can all change. But like the chapters are, number 1, authenticity, honesty, communication, healthy solitude, all these things that like I feel like for me when I was getting treatment, I didn't hear about. Like I never heard. Like, healthy solitude, getting to know yourself, allowing yourself time to like download and process like who you are, what you want. Because I was so used to being distracted my whole life, of just creating distractions, being distracted. Like to actually stop. Like when I got sober, I stopped to like honor myself, listen to myself. Like that's for me something like important to talk about with people in sobriety. Obviously the importance of boundaries, but this was 2015. So back then there wasn't a lot of literature out there like that, kind of giving people a roadmap. Like I give you real-time tools. And then I also gave a little real life, like client stories in Rewired so that someone could see how this principle has helped change their life.
Yeah. Wow. Anecdotal like experiences.
Just tiny ones. That's how I structured it. And then at the end of every chapter was affirmations on the subject. So affirmations on communication, affirmations on authenticity, affirmations on love, affirmations on,
Wow.
And then from there it did well and became like a bestseller. And so then a workbook followed. And then I wrote a book called The Rewired Life, which was for like the general public, because Rewired had helped a lot of people. People would write me, or on Amazon, they'd say like, I'm getting a divorce. I don't have an addiction issue, but your book really helped me. Or my friend like my husband has a problem, but it's really helped me. And so I wrote that other book, and from there, an affirmation book, a coloring book, so just books came. It was creative. It was fun. It's been fun.
That's so
awesome.
interesting.
Yeah.
That's super rad.
Yeah.
So then, so now you've written all these books, and then what do you start? So then you have you have a private practice too.
Yeah. I have a private practice.
What caused you to choose to become a part of the Oak Forest team?
The first time you came out, I was like, oh my gosh, this is my family. These are my best friends now. And I immediately felt very drawn to the Oak Forest community. I think it's really beautiful, from just the bonfire meeting and people not even necessarily needing to go through Oak Forest to go to that. And then also knowing that they have this safe community, or if someone needs help, they can go through this program that has changed so many lives. I love that it's like a family and tribe, like you call it. From seeing how many people have gone through there and then decide to work at Oak Forest and help others and want to stay in that community because they love it so much, I think that's truly something I haven't seen anywhere else.
So you leave Passages.
Oh, I love Passages. Well, the book was published, and then the book started doing well, and people would find me through my website. They would read the book, and then, can you do counseling sessions? And even at Passages, people would graduate from LA and say, like, can you be my counselor after this? Can you do, and they said that's fine too. So I started a private practice during the time, and I just never had to luckily never had to advertise. I never had to ask, just people came. Mm-hmm. And it's still been that way. So it's been, 12 years since I started a private practice, and, clients find me through my books, or they find me through, I write for Poosh, or I write for different, outlets, and people find me through those articles. And so now I have people for clients that are dealing with addiction issues, but also I have everyday people.
Yeah.
I just was with the client and it's nothing to do with addiction, but she's having, but again, so it's been an amazing experience. I most recently created a Rewired coaching certification program so people could become coaches, in my Rewired program.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
So I created a course called the Rewired. It's called the Rewired, online course that everyday people could take if they want to learn about recovery, self-care. And I put it out, and it's up on my website even to this day. And I never pushed it. I never advertised for it. But I was introduced to a company called Adovo. And Adovo has tablets in jails, prisons, and juvenile detention centers across the U.S. And I met with Adovo, and I showed them this Rewired course that I had for people in recovery. And they said, would you be willing to give this to us to put on our tablets for incarcerated learners? And I really wanted for this new method that it was already in my mind to create, to be evidence-based, to have some data that it was helpful for people, so this is really what's come out of this. So I did give Adovo my online Rewired program, it's called, and didn't push it myself, but I allowed them to put it on the tablets. And now it's been almost 3 years, 2.5 years, and we've had 11,000 incarcerated learners graduate the Rewired program. Oh, wow. And it's in over 1,100 prisons, juvenile detention centers, and jails across the United States on Adovo's tablets. So I have a list of, in California, I know every jail where someone has taken the Rewired course. So now I have people writing me. I have incarcerated individuals writing me. There's a guy in Florida, he just wrote me last week. He graduated from the Rewired program. Wow. He wants to become a counselor. So I'm going to try to get this into this coaching now certification, peer-to-peer. I want to give them an opportunity, almost like social impact, where if they do reentry, right, they come out, they can become coaches. They can be a recovery coach. I mean, it's in my methodology. Now it's evidence-based because we've had, so Adovo, I have a letter of intent for the grants now. And because we've had such high numbers and a 92% completion rate, people that start it typically finish it, which is another, and I could have never gotten any of this information had I not just trusted, give it to them, let them do what they want with it, and let's see how it helps. And I don't know why, but I've always felt I felt a pull to help that population even before this. I mean, I think that's why when I heard about Adova, I was like, yeah, I just know that, people make bad decisions, and that doesn't mean
that they're bad people.
They're bad people. And especially, around nonviolent crimes. And it's really important to give them education and access. It's very important for me. And so, but it's a very tough road to break into this world of, trying to get to a correction officer. I've had, people reach out and like, can you talk to my, the warden at this jail and there's so many jails in every state. And I'm learning a lot about that whole world right now. And so that's where we're at. And because of that course and that, that experience with these incarcerated learners, I wanted to write this book about the method.
Got it.
And the 8 R's and kind of how to apply this to anyone that wants to kind of, level up a little bit.
Yeah. So what are the eight R's?
Okay.
I'm so intrigued.
Yes.
I want to know.
Okay.
I'm just amazed.
Yeah.
11,000 people.
I know.
Incarcerated people taking this course.
I know.
That's huge.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like,
I know. I don't even. I don't believe the numbers, but I saw them.
Right.
I'm like, can you send me and show me which jails? And like, there's just lists like Idaho, Iowa, like every jail. Like,
wow.
They're on the tablets. Also have like vocational skills. They have reading comprehension.
Yeah. And these a lot of these we've interviewed a couple guys that have spent time. I mean, one guy, our last interview batch like a month ago was serving a life sentence without possibility of parole.
Wow.
Yeah.
As a minor
at
17 in California.
Wow.
And he went in and was gang affiliated in the beginning and then got out of that and then started when he got out of it, he was like, well, I'm going to be here. I might as well do everything.
Yeah.
And so he was like one of those guys.
Yeah.
If there was a tablet, he did all the things and all the stuff and graduated all the programs.
That's
and
amazing.
became all of these great things. But anyways, then there was a new mayor and he started this program and he actually got out.
Wow.
And he got released and it was like,
wow.
Now he lives in Agora and he's a boxing coach and he's cool. Like,
that's awesome.
Amazing.
That's
but
awesome.
That's such a important thing.
It's important, and there's still so much more work to be done. Like just to like.
And the jail systems are not great.
No, they're not good. And also, like I talked to someone at the jail systems about training. Like again, their counselors or the people they hire to work with these individuals in recovery. They're not necessarily as qualified as they could be. So I was like, can we make them rewired coaches? I have a program, but again, do they want to invest in their employees?
Yeah, that's the problem.
Even at treatment centers, like it's hard to like, you have a certification, do I want to pay for you to have another certification? Like we have so many other expenses. What do I want to spend it on? So again, like that program's out there. We'll see what happens with that. And even now, like this Rewired Method, I'm turning it into like a course for just the general public. Like I was just sharing that.
Right.
People like every day, like now I have a lot of clients that have nothing to do with addiction, but this resonates with them. Like they want to restart, which is the first R. They want to reframe. They want to rewrite their narrative, which is the third one. They want to like kind of the system. So I'm going to create a course for just everyday people and kind of pivot into like the wellness, just educational, like wellness. Like let's get the whole world on this right now so we could level up our self-care and upgrade and,
Yeah.
So
I think it's great.
Yeah, that's kind of where it's at. But all these things I think have helped shape, everything that we've experienced shape, who we are and what we do next. It's kind of the thing.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think it's really awesome that it's more of a general thing now because I say it to RJ probably every single episode that we have
AA,
that like
the 12 steps
programs like that.
Yeah.
Is not just for. I believe that everyone can benefit from something like that.
Yes.
And I think that a lot of like normies maybe don't look at things. They're not like, oh, I don't really have to do anything because I don't really have any. But everyone has their own stuff, you know. So I think that these things are really beneficial, especially when you put it on a scale of like everyone can benefit from this.
I feel like we've talked so much about how like the 12 steps, right? Like it really can apply
it's just
to
a program
anybody,
to be a better person.
Right? But
a lot of people would benefit.
That individual that I was talking about, his name's Tyler. In his episode, he's not an alcoholic. He's not a drug addict. He never touched drugs, never touched alcohol. Like it just wasn't his thing. But when he was incarcerated, he would go to AA meetings and he worked the steps, and he is like a staunch,
and he knows the book like the back of his hand and the principles.
And he is like, no, AA is what people need to do. Like 12 steps is what people need to do. And he's a normie.
And
he's like, this is it like helps save his life. He didn't have a substance problem.
Well, I mean, that's I you know, like I always say to people, like open mind, open heart, try everything. Like try AA, try the Rewired Method, try this, try like there can't be one modality for every human being,
For sure.
And even if there is one that's predominantly better for you, you still can try other things. Like learn about Buddhism, learn about meditation, learn about breath work, see what you like, what you don't like, you know.
In your experience with treatment, how special is Oak Forest?
Oak Forest is very special. I've had my fair share of treatment experiences. I've even worked in treatment myself. And Oak Forest is like something I've never really experienced before. And I think that it's almost something that like cannot be replicated anywhere else, at least from what I've seen, right? And so it's just like this community and the love and the support that goes from the beginning of the process, and not even just with the clients, with the families, with everything else. Like everything that I have seen goes above and beyond. And like beyond even as like all of these people are being employed long after they have completed treatment, right? And I think that right there says everything.
I am really like a little hopeful now, like in terms of just in general with people healing, that there's a lot of like great paths for people, and just giving that access is all that is missing. Is just trying to normalize taking care of yourself and honoring yourself. Just like I feel like recovering people know that, but what about everyday people?
Right.
Like why can't, you know? So again, it's just trying. I think this is just where I'm at in this particular chapter, is opening this up for the general public. And so I've invested a lot more in like doing more posts on wellness and like kind of bringing, you know, all the other things to it. But
do you do speaking? Do you do like class or courses and stuff in person? And
I have. I've done a lot of like workshops, speaking
That's
events.
Awesome.
For different companies. I went up to like Portland and I did one for Flora Health like last year. So people hire me to do workshops like on self-care, and it's kind of more of like a speaking event. Yeah. So I love, I mean, I only know what I know, and I don't know everything, but I do know, you know, I do know like how to possibly help you be happier and live a better life, you know, and I could kind of at this point as a professional, like see what's going on and help. And like, I love doing it. Like it's part of who I am now. So I'm grateful that I get the opportunity to have clients and that get to be part of people's journeys. And it's super special to me. Like I had a client, she just texted me yesterday. She went through a major issue in her family and their husband, all these things. And she now had like some finality and like there was closure. And she texted me like, you were the first person I wanted to share this with because you were there in the beginning, you know? And it's special to be part of people's lives in that way.
Right.
I feel really grateful
Honored
for that.
To be a part of it. Right. I wanted to ask you, like, do you work with a lot of like early adults? What do you think is some of the biggest problems that you've like seen, say in like the last, like, I don't know, since COVID, like the last like 4 or 5 years? That people seem to be struggling with the most. Like not just addicts or drug addicts, but just like young adults in general.
Young adults. I feel like there's like, again, like this disconnect with like younger people and like who they are. Like I feel like there's a lot of low self-esteem and depression, like low grade depression, but like I think it comes from this comparison. I have to say it. I think it's technology.
No, I want you talk about it. I'm trying to like
no, and I say that because I don't want to blame and make a blanket statement like technology, but I do think that there's this
I feel like you're
grade.
a healthcare worker on the front lines, and it's like this is the stuff like I want to like hear feedback on. And I think that our audience wants to hear. And it's like we need to talk about this.
I think it's technology and the comparison, low self-esteem, this low grade depression, this low grade everyday judging yourself that you're not this because this person's this. And I mean,
it's all fake.
It's all fake.
It's all fake.
It's a facade, you know? But again, it's like our brains want to, it's like we're kind of hardwired to look at like what we don't have versus what we do have. And that's the issue is I think technology, that's what it does highlight is what you don't have. Look at you. You're not skinny like she is. You're not successful like he is. You're not, and again, I think it's dangerous. I think it's very dangerous without like a precursor, somebody explaining to you like, this is fake. This is not a real photograph. And I'm dealing with some 20-year-olds now. And I think it's this, I don't know if they would be in this kind of low grade depression without that technology influence, to be honest. Like, I don't think the family life was really to that point where that's what's going on. I think it's honestly,
I think it's just sickening humans
for sure
as a whole. I work my job is a content creator on social media, and I try to always be as authentic. I get on there freshly rolled out of bed. I try to be as real as possible because we are all. I don't think you can look online at so much information and so many photos and not compare in some kind of way, and I don't think it's good for anyone's.
But you're really interesting because like for you, this is a job now. It's like a career. Like you're a new breed, to be honest, of somebody that like, let's say like, how does that feel? Like, what if I was just thinking if I had like, I have a client, she has like 3 million followers. Like she's an actress, but anyway, but like, like what if that all went away tomorrow? Like, it's just so interesting.
Oh, I think about that. I think about that all the time.
Instagram got shut down. TikTok got shut down. Like, what would happen to people's, like, how would they feel? I mean, you still have success. You still have, like, nothing is taken. You're not anyone different, but like.
No, but that's a real thing. Like if we lose internet tomorrow or whatever, I don't know. Something, but I've been doing this for full time for a couple years now. It wasn't something I was trying to get into. I kind of just fell into it. Yeah. And to be totally honest, because of the mental health aspect, it's like really heavy. It's a lot. And spending that much time on a phone virtually instead of like actually in real life, I don't think is healthy for anyone. So I'm honestly trying to branch out into more stuff like this, more stuff where I don't need to be on my phone and in that like virtual place when there's life going on around me. Right. So hopefully I won't have to do it for much longer, for like at least as my main source of income for much longer. Cause I don't think that amount of being in technology is healthy for anyone. Yeah. I don't. And I have a lot of content creator friends I'm sure. that also like millions of followers, and everyone has their own struggles. I don't think it's the glamorous thing. And that's what I try to tell so many people. They're like, oh, I wish I was an influencer. I wish I was a content creator. And yes, there's a lot of amazing, really cool things. But there's also like a really heavy like downside on your spirit and on your brain that you're constantly trying to have to like combat, you know?
Right. The pressure. Yeah. The pressure. Yeah. I bet. I mean, it's amazing. I'm proud of you. Like, because there's plenty of people trying to do it and can't or won't, for whatever reason. Yeah. But it's really interesting for your journey and just in general, like what a learning experience. I think it was just like a God, like when I look at my thing, I've said this before, I'm like, I don't really understand it. I don't know how this happened. I don't know how I got here. I'm like, are you sure what's happening? I ask my followers all the time. I'm like, are you literally sure? Are you okay?
You still like this?
Yeah. You like me? What? That's so weird. And I don't know. I wasn't trying to get here, but I do feel like God has given me this space where I'm able to share share very raw, probably overshare, really in like a comedic kind of way, like really heavy stuff in kind of like a comedy kind of way. And the amount of messages that I've gotten of people that I've helped and like, so like, I think that is the purpose, is like to try to reach people and help them in this way. I think it's just,
no, that's amazing.
It's cool. There's like two sides to it,
Well, I think there's the good, the bad, the ugly of technology too, right? There's good like this where people feel like connected and they feel like they can relate and it helps and people help. And then there's like there is these, you know, I think younger people that have, you know, this word self-worth issue or whether it's like a core issue of I'm not good enough or I'm not this enough. And then that reinforces it.
Right. Which is like such a core issue with so many. I mean, it's like I feel like almost all drug addicts and alcoholics have that core issue, right?
Yeah,
like for sure.
Right.
But I mean, like when I grew up, right, I didn't have a phone until I was 8th grade or something, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
I didn't have one until I was like 16.
That's what I mean.
I bought a Boost mobile phone at the gas station.
I was in college.
Right.
I was in college. Yeah.
And it was like I didn't even have, I remember I had MySpace and it was like end of high school or something. You know what I mean? Like it just
different.
It just didn't grow up in that. And I can just imagine like and just with the level of insecurities that I had.
Right. Imagine them being just,
and I didn't have this thing to look at all day long, watching all these other people do things that maybe that were cooler than what I was doing.
Right.
And
listen, nobody wakes up one day and thinks, you know what'll be fun? Going to rehab. But sometimes life gets messy, and the bravest thing that you can do is admit that you need a reset.
At Oak Forest Recovery, we're not here to judge. We've been there. We know what it's like. We've been scared. We've been alone, using comedy and jokes to cover it all up. The good news is you don't have to do it alone. We have the tools, we've got the community, and we even have good coffee.
If you or someone you love is struggling, come see us. Healing doesn't have to be boring. It can even be fun, and we're here to help.
Or what if they don't like it? Like the likes, it's like, I have
this person's super popular and I'm getting nothing and no one likes me. And
I know my cousin years ago, she was like, no one has liked my photo. I'm like, oh my God. You know, so this is like your word, you know, what did I do wrong? Oh, must be me. Self-judgment, self-criticism, like this getting down on yourself. So then you're trying to teach someone how to be kind or use better language in your self-talk, but yet like there's a reinforcement over here. Like, I'm not getting, so it's really even doing therapy with people like this. I'm like, let's look at this phone. Like, what's your relationship with this? You know, like, because I think it does get in the way. It's like you take one step forward and then a couple steps back.
Right.
I mean, that's why even in treatment, I think it's so helpful not to have a phone.
Oh, for sure.
I think it's so helpful. I go on a sober camping retreat, even, and it's like the only time during the year that I can completely like offline, and it changes my life.
That's amazing.
I wish there's often times we could just go back to like house phones and not having a phone all the time.
Well, it's like what we found too, like at Oak Forest, like, so we do like a mandatory blackout period when somebody first comes in, right?
Yeah.
For a number of weeks, and then when you do get your phone back, you get it in the morning at the gym, and then it's gone during the entire middle part of the day until 4:30 in the afternoon, and then you turn it in at night, so 9:45.
Good,
right?
so there's like boundaries around.
You get it in the morning, gym, music, you know what I mean, and then you get it in the afternoon, right? So you're calling your sponsor or whatever,
and they have to be at a certain place to get it back.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. You have to.
That's why I got on my 4th step in treatment.
Right. So
I was like, I want my phone back, and they're
But,
like, you have to be here, you have to have this, and this done.
That's good.
And it really was a good motivator, and they did the same thing.
But one of our things is we collect phones at night.
Yeah.
Right. All electronics. Right. So like at curfew, like there's no electronics in the house. Right. So that nobody is like staring at a screen.
Right.
As they're in bed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you watch these kids who have like have got like, they're so depressed. Their sleep schedules are all messed up. And you take away that phone at night. Or take away a phone. Easily up at 6:30 in the morning. Easily at a 7 a.m.
Well, because it's one of the biggest addictions for everyone right now.
Right.
Is being on the phone, the doom scrolling, the fast dopamine hits of the short videos, all of that.
Yeah. But then also, I think what you asked, the problem that I've seen recently is like these kids have no hobbies. Like this is another thing. Is like even though I didn't like sports, I did sports, or you know, like I had.
You had to entertain yourself.
Yeah, you have like. I used to draw, or I used to like I had things like I had to do to entertain myself, and nowadays you could just sit on the phone or sit at the video games, or like, again, like there's no opportunity to learn a new language, to learn a new art project, to have like, you know, an opportunity to like volunteer and connect with your community, which we used to do. People come to our school and be like, who wants to volunteer? Like now no one.
Right.
Yeah. It's sad. It's just sad.
It's scary
it's like,
too. I think it's scary because I think it's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
As time goes on.
And they don't know what they like. They don't know who they are. It's a very different 20-year-old.
Yeah.
Than I feel like when I was 20.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah. I feel like that needs to be talked about more.
Yeah.
I feel
Absolutely.
like it's like, how is it addressed? Where are we going? I hate to be like so doom and gloom about it, but it's the one piece of hope that I have is I have a little stepbrother who's just turned 21.
Okay.
Right. So he's like that generation.
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
now, like grew up with technology, right? And social media, and him and like all of his friends in this whole friend group, they're like anti social media.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
So
I
like,
love that.
like their Instagrams, like if you go to it,
Yeah.
like they'll only have like one photo.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And their whole thing is about having no followers.
Wow.
Like they're like your followers are just your friends.
Yeah.
Right. And like it's actually cooler to be like,
I hope it goes that way.
like it's like it's like
I
they've made it
love that.
his like shift in the way he talks about it is like, oh no, it's exclusive.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool.
Like it's like this different thing where like where I feel like when we first got it, right, it was like we need to have all the followers, right? And it's like and it's just this little tiny bit of like glimmer, you know what I mean? Where I'm wondering if like the human psyche will win. Yeah. Right? Where like these kids will shift it the other way, where it's becoming like when him and his friends talk about it, they're like the cool kids of like that of his like group and his whole area.
I hope so.
Yeah.
And it's like this, they talk about it in this way of like exclusivity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rather than like unless you're an influencer, like
Right.
unless you somehow like popped off, everyone else is like exclusivity.
Yeah.
It's private and it's like just my friends.
That's
It's really interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. And I have a feeling it will maybe go in that direction a little bit. I mean, I think some adults, my husband just got off of all of it. Like he was like wasting time at work. He was like, I can't, so no more Instagram on his phone, no more Facebook. You know, like I think certain adults are making these decisions, especially adults that grew up in the 80s and 90s and 2000s of like, I see like I'm not productive anymore. I see this is going on. But when you're a child and your brain's still developing and you only know from that, like my kid said something to me like, oh, that's the QR code. And I'm like, how do you know what a QR code is? Like, this is a whole new language. This is literally like, and I said to my daughter too the other day, she said, oh, it's like something when you were young with your phone, did you have a phone? I said, we didn't have a phone. Like, was trying to explain this. Like, you know, I had a pager when I was a teenager. Like, you know, like that was even cool and weird, you know? But no, it's like, it's just, they don't know from anything different. So this is, I'm more worried about our kids' generation, honestly. Like, I mean, yes, I'm worried about these 20-year-olds, but it's now. It's just.
I just wonder. I wonder how the human psyche, like it will. I feel like just humans are so good at adapting and overcoming. Yeah, you know what I mean. In all of history, right? It's like we're so good at adapting and overcoming. Yeah, and just how does these younger generations I just can't feel like it all just turns into like, I remember there's like some artist rendering I saw online that was like posted by like the New York Times of like the future of what somebody looks like, and it's like this
the neck,
you know what I mean?
Oh god, that ruined my whole day when I saw that.
And it's like, right, you know what I mean? And I'm like okay, maybe in this post-apocalyptic like worst case scenario,
my
shoulders back.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
but then I'm like, I don't know. Like you look back in history, and it's like the human like spirit has like overcome.
Yes, we figured out
so
solutions.
Much. Yeah. You know what I mean? That I just can't imagine that we don't overcome. I just feel like it's going to turn at some point. So. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the solution has to be us modeling behavior though. Like us adults. Like honestly, like, and I know you know this, like when you have like a kid, like, you know, and I know you have a daughter. Yeah. She's older now, right? Yeah. But I mean, like these young kids of like just modeling, like not being on my phone all the time, like, which I have to be for work a lot. So I try when they're in their room to like go out of the room if I have to. I'm trying to be more conscious because as they were younger, like my son would be like, get off your phone. And I like hate hearing that because I'm like, I don't want to be on my phone.
You feel
like,
guilty.
Oh my God. Like, it's not that I want to be on this phone. I have to for work. My clients telling me they want to change the time. You know, it's just so but modeling it and like making a conscious decision of like going out of the room or like at dinner now, like my husband gets on, I'm like, put the phone down. But we have to be more mindful of it. Like, cause they will do what we do.
Yeah.
You have to rewire.
We have to rewire.
Yeah.
Model that. Yeah. It's important. Yeah.
God, wow.
It's always just making these like connecting these like moments of awareness of like, like that's how we learn. I mean, look how we learned.
For sure.
You know,
I
started, drinking because I saw it.
It
was normal, and you know, so
yeah,
it's kind of simple, but then it's so layered, and so there's so many different things that contribute to why there's an issue.
Right.
Right. But there's a lot of issues out there.
Yeah, there is. Well.
Yeah.
God, I think we're about an hour.
Okay.
And I don't want to keep you too long because I know you got to go. But
thank you guys so much.
Where can people find your book? And tell us where.
All my books are available on Amazon. Is probably the easiest way to find them. Also, wherever you like to buy books, you can find them. And also just my website, ericaspiegelman.com. I'm on Instagram at Erica Spiegelman. Everything's kind of under my name. So if you look me up, keep in touch, find me.
Cool.
Yeah, follow.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I
really appreciate you coming on.
So nice to spend time.
Yeah, it's cool.